So today we're working on my 1979 Toyota Land Cruiser, and I think it's what you'd call a survivor. It's pretty much unrestored. This is mostly all the original paint, and it's in pretty good shape, although if I had to name this truck, I would name it Stranger Things, because the top side of the truck is kind of like Hawkins, right? You go inside, everything looks nice, seats are good, it's got air conditioning, paint's pretty decent, although the color, it grows on you, but it's a little harsh to begin with. But when you go underneath it, that is definitely the upside down. It is really rough down there. But today, we're going to help that a little bit by putting a new Daystar kit in here. Now this is a kit that I've been told by several people really improves the ride. And so we're going to give it a try. And as usual, there's some fitment issues that I've already seen and read about. And so we're going to try to address those as well. And then afterwards, I'll take it for a little ride and give you a little bit more history on it. So let's look at that Daystar kit now. Here we have all the pieces for this Daystar kit. They're laid out. This is the front two, the middle two, the back two. These two go underneath the side steps. And these four are question mark because they go underneath the body. And I'm not too sure if we're going to be able to get in there and get the old ones out, but we're going to maybe give it a try. So it says to do one side then the other. So I'm going to loosen everything up and we'll take out one side and we'll start to work through this body kit. The Toyota Field Service Manual says that I should visually inspect the bushings for wear before replacing. I see a little wear, I think. For this step, we'll do a montage of the bolt removal. So cue that bolt removal montage now. So here we go. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That might be loose. Did you look at that? Thing just exploded on me. Look at that. Man, this thing just grenaded in there. Holy crap. Wow, well, I guess that's what you get when you buy the cheapest impact you can find. I guess we're doing these by hand. There's one. It wasn't too bad. Oh, yeah. This is too easy. All right, we're going to try the poor man's impact here. Oh, yeah. All right, that's two. Nope. That is not fun. That dude's gonna fight me all the way to the bottom. This is the mid-body mount on the driver's side here. I don't know, maybe it's got a little bit of life left in it. Look at that thing. Bam! Well, there's all six. Only a couple of them are really tight, so the rest of them came out relatively easy. So, all right, next we got to figure out how to lift this body up a little bit and get all these old bushings out of here. So that'll be next. All right, so now that all of the bolts are loose, I'm going to start actually with position 5 here, which is this, well, a washer, this one pointing down there, oops, this one pointing down, the M2353, then the frame, then there's a bottom one, and then there's another washer. I do have this jacked up enough to get in there, and to do that I just have it, again, here's the muffler in the back, I just have it going up against that cross member there in the bed, and it lifted it right up. It's heavy, but it lifted it right up, and I think that'll lift up the middle section as high enough as well to get that in there too. So let's do this. So we're underneath the passenger rear here, and the first thing I need to do is I need to get these old bushings out of here, and then for all the different positions, I'll put the top bushing in, the one that goes between the body and the frame, in first and get those all set, and then we'll come around and we'll put the lower bushing on and the washer and all the bolts. So we'll just work through these one at a time here. Okay, just for orientation, right here is where it goes. There's a like almost like a seat in there for it, and that goes on there, and then got this big old washer here that goes on top, and hopefully. There you go. All right, so that side's good. There it goes. Oh, the truck's not high enough. So we have the center mounts and the rear mounts done, but this area here, there's a mount on each side right about here, and this is the one that makes me nervous because this is bolted here, it's bolted down there, this has like clearances here and here that we all want to keep aligned. And I just have a feeling that trying to jack that up right at that point, there's a lot of different forces that are going to be put on this front clip. So I'm going to just try to be as careful as I can here. So we're up on the front of the truck here on the more difficult one, I think, to get out. And this is where that bushing is going to be at, right there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this bracket off here, and then I'm going to try to push up on the body kind of right here. If you can see that. It'll make a little more sense once I get it out. So let me get this out and we'll come back here. Okay, I hope this is helpful. So the bushing goes right back here. This is actually the top bushing here. Right there. Maybe I'll try to put an arrow on there. I'll see. I have a jack right here that's connected to the mount, and I've just been able to barely sneak it up in there. And now I'm going to jack this up. All right, there's a pretty good view. So I'm going to start jacking up here. Whew, there you go. That is really uncomfortable. There's a lot of forces on this body with that up like that. But I think it's okay. Okay, so the installation phase 2 is done. So I have all the new body mounts between the body and the frame installed. And now we're just going to go around and we're going to put the bottom bushing on each of these and then the bottom washer and tighten them all up. I'm just going to start here in the middle. I don't know that it really matters, but let's start here. As with a lot of other aftermarket products, there's always some fitment issues, and this Daystar kit and the FJ40 are no different, and probably for some of the other Daystar kits that are out there for other cars. But out of the 6 bolts that we need to put in, 4 of them have a flange that hangs down, and there's a hole in the middle of the bushing, but that hole is too small. So when you put it in and you run it up there and you tighten it up, you'll see that there's a ring around the outside of the hole, and so it doesn't fit flush. Now, I don't know if it's really that important that fits flush on there, but I know that some of the people, at least in my Land Cruiser community, they feel like it is. So I want to show you the 2 things. Number 1, this is where it'll hit, kind of where it'll hit, and what it'll look like when you just tighten it up. And if that's okay with you, great. But also we can do just a little bit of magic here with a hole saw and cut that out so that it does fit flush. So I'm going to do that now. I'll show you how I did it, just with a couple different size hole saws. All right, let's go. Okay, so the first thing is drill a hole in a piece of wood. This is just 3/4 inch plywood, and the hole size is 1 7/8 inches, and that's pretty tight. I don't think you'll get much better than that. And then this hole saw here is, I forgot it, 1 1/4 inches. So you want to take this and center it up over the hole from the Daystar kit as best as possible. And then go ahead and clamp that down. And again, you just want to, let me make sure you can kind of see that. It's in there, kind of centered in there the best that I can get it there. Okay? Probably throw one on both sides just to be safe. I'm still trying to get better at this because I should have had these ready for the action. All right. So I'm just going to take this hole saw. Got to make sure I'm not going to hit the vise there. I'm just going to take the hole saw now and run it down here. Now, if you really want to be precise, you can put a piece of tape on there and kind of measure it out. It really only needs to go down a little bit, though. A little bit more than that, though. Okay. We'll take that out of there. And for eyeballing that, that is pretty good. Now you can just leave it like this because when you put it up in there, that flange will go right around that, or you can take and you can cut that out with a piece of, with a razor blade and just cut that out, that last little bit out of there. So there's a way that you can do it with just some simple tools at home if you really want to get that so that that sits flush up against the bottom of the mount there, right? So, all right, let's go put this back in the truck. All right, so here we are. We're up on the driver's side, front mount. And you can see right here, this is that little lip. Like if I just slide my finger along there, that's where it hits right there. And again, that, if you take a look at that hole that they got on the Daystar kit, it's too small, like that won't work. So, but with the cutout that we made, if I go up here, and I can just twist it a little bit so I can feel that it's all the way up against there now. So it's going in that new groove that we cut. So that way it's making a nice contact all the way around. Okay, I'm gonna try to not drop this on my face. I'm looking right up at the camera, just like you are. Oh, I think we got it. All right, so there you go. I'm going to tighten that up a little bit more with a ratchet, but there's a way that you can, kind of fix those aftermarket fitment issues with it that we always seem to have with the Daystar kit here. All right, we're in the back passenger side here. We're just going to put this on here, I hope. Boy, there's just no room here at all. Let's see if we can do this. There you go. Okay, so I did a little reading last night, and while there's nothing definitive, I don't think, about how many times you're supposed to turn this. I did see a couple people that said, kind of snug it up till it's definitely got a little push on the bushing, and then go around like 1.5 or 2 more times. So I'm going to do these kind of quarter turns here. 6. I think that's probably about right. That's about 2 turns. And I think that's tight enough, but not too tight. And what I might do is just drive it around a little bit, and then if it seems like it's a little loose, tighten it up some more. But what I did see is you don't want to smash the bushings so tight that they don't have any bounce in them left, right? They're just completely worn down. So, and if anybody happens to know the better sequence for that, I'm certainly open to suggestions. So let's go. Let's see here. All right, so that's it. So we got all 6 things buttoned down. I am going to punt on the bushings that go underneath the body, and I'll show you that in a second. But this means the only thing we have left to do is to kind of tighten up all the bolts on the manifold and the exhaust that I loosened up, and a couple more little odds and ends, and we'll take it out and we'll run it around the block here. All right, if we kind of zoom in into the back tire here, you'll see those mounts I was talking about. So those are supposed to touch, and they're not. But the interesting thing is that the new ones are the same size, so they wouldn't touch either. So I tried a couple different things to get those out of there, but they have a screw that goes up from the bottom, and there's no way to lift the body up, you know, high enough to get a screwdriver or something in there without doing something really heroic. And it's a little bit more than I'd like to get into here. Plus, they wouldn't even touch, and I'd have to shim it somehow anyway. So we're just going to leave these like this for now, and we're going to kind of tidy everything up, and then we're going to go and take the truck for a drive. Cold start. Not too bad. 38 degrees this morning. So truth be told, I drove this yesterday, and I'm kind of surprised how much of a difference it really makes. There's a lot less kind of rattling and banging, and just seems generally a little smoother. So we like that. We like a little civility in the Land Cruiser here. So I found this truck in Louisville at a mechanic's shop on Craigslist, if anybody remembers Craigslist. And the owner had traded it for some work that he had done on another car. So the mechanic was selling it just to kind of get his money back. So technically I'm the second owner, and the original owner bought it in '79 and still had the original 1979 title. And again, like I said, it's definitely a survivor. It hadn't been on the road since 1998 when I bought it in 2018. So, and it took a lot of work to get it put back together. When I bought it, it was on 35s with an insane 4-inch lift. I think I have a couple pictures of those. It'd taken a really big shot in the nose from some trees, or like a big tree limb. And so that's why you see that it has a new hood on it. And then just a lot of mechanical stuff. So it had a bunch of exhaust leaks, intake leaks. The carburetor needed to be rebuilt, needed all new brake. Now I try to do things a little different with this car. I try not to get it into the shop for months at a time. During COVID, I was off of work for a little while, and so I took it off the road for about 3 months and put air conditioning in it, and put power steering in it, and redid all the front end, the ball joints and all that good stuff. But I really like to try to keep it on the road. So I try to do projects like this where I can, have it out for a day or two, but it's not going to be, taken apart for months at a time. Now someday I'll have to make a decision between this and the Freeborn 40. They're exactly the same car, really. Actually, if you look at the VIN numbers, they were less than 200 cars apart on the production line. So it's not like I have like two different even types of Land Cruisers. They're basically exactly the same. My problem is that I have so much effort and love and sweat and tears and blood and everything else in both of these, that'd be really hard to choose. And if you're wondering if there really is a Land Cruiser lane, this is it right here. So this is actually my property, but when they built the subdivision, they ran the road all the way to the end of my property line there. So I've got a little bit of road here, so I've just went ahead and made the decision to call it Land Cruiser Lane. And this is the driveway that takes me down around to the bottom of the house where the shop's at. It's not a garage, it's a shop. It's not a basement, it's a shop. Hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please give it a like and a subscribe. And thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.